Hello, welcome back to the Code Lab, the Google Cloud Code Lab. We are trying to implement a messaging with Spring integration and Google Cloud PubSub as a service. In our last video, we provisioned a PubSub resource, that is, we created a topic and a subscription to that topic. In this video, we are going to initialize a Spring Boot application. So what do we have to do to initialize it? After Cloud Shell launches, you can use the command line to generate two new Spring Boot application with Spring Initializer. So this is what they're trying to say is use the curl. So there is a curl command available which can curl can be used with Spring Starter as well. uh, this is the Spring Starter URL, and then there are few parameters. There is boot version, Spring Boot version, then dependencies, what all dependencies you need. The dependencies that you need is Spring Web. So if you are doing it through Spring Initializer, let me just quickly get into Spring Initializer and Spring Initializer. Okay, here. So whatever you do when you click on generate is going to happen when you run this command, this curl command. Okay, so for that you have to give the URL for sure. You have to tell the Spring Boot version and the dependencies. Like here also you have to tell, no, where usually you type in here Spring Web, so that is one dependency, and another is integration and Google GCP PubSub. Let's see if Spring integration and Google GCP. Let's type PubSub. Google Cloud Messaging here. Google Cloud PubSub. This is going to be uh, that dependency. Okay. So these three dependencies they need. It is going to be of type Maven. So here we can say Gradle or Maven. No, somewhere. Yeah, here Gradle, Groovy, Gradle, Kotlin, or Maven. Similar to that, with type we can say Maven project, and base directory is Spring Integration Sender. So I think this is the name of the directory that it's gonna create. So let's run this command. So this command has to be run on Cloud Shell. So let's go to Cloud Shell using the activate Cloud Shell. This was mentioned in setup and requirements video only. So let's just quickly click on Cloud Shell. As soon as you do that, it starts provisioning your Cloud Shell machine and connecting to your Cloud Shell instance. It has done that. My project is dev shg. I have made that sure, and let me type the command. Okay, did not copy. Okay, now let's do that. Not in gzip format. I realized what mistake I was doing all this while. Let me just do a clear. So I'll type this command on a notepad. So there are two commands there, and I was typing them both together, and that too along with that command there. So even when I copy this, it copies both the commands, which I wouldn't need. So maybe that's a small betterment that Google Cloud could do in their documentation, but now I have typed the right command here. Not in G. So I took some time and finally found a good documentation of running the curl command. I'm sorry, I'm not a heavy user of curl commands. I usually, whenever I have to create Spring projects, I would just go to Spring Initializer and uh, create a project out of it. But anyways, it's a good thing that I have learned something new because of this today. Let's take it positively, please. Uh, so uh, so what I have found is this curl command that they have given is was not working. Okay, so this was the command that they have given. Okay, but it's not working, and I think the reason for that is this slash, this extra slash here. So when I went to curl spring.io sample, I found there such few samples like this, and based on that I figured that the command is with hyphen t. So this is what we should have used, and once we use this, it will work fine. So we are going to run this command now then. Okay, so what's the difference? Just this one. Okay, let's try that. Just gonna, so I have just, it is exactly the same command, guys. Both these two, this one and this one, are exactly the same commands with this difference. Okay, I'm going to copy the second one here. I'm going to so like I said, we are going to create a base directory with Spring Integration Sender. Let's see what happens if it creates a Spring project or not. Yeah, it did. Let me do an ls, let me do Spring and do an ls again. So there is a pom.xml. Let's read that pom.xml and try and understand what all things are there. Okay, what it has done is it has used Spring Boot version 3.2, the default one. I think this is a good way. uh, oh yes, the difference between these two commands is the boot version. I have in cloud documentation they have mentioned the boot version. I have left it blank because I wanted the default boot version to be picked up. But other than that, the dependencies are same. Web integration in cloud GCP pops up. The type is going to be Maven project. The base directory is same, Spring Integration Center sender, and format is same, tar. So what this curl command does is, if you have not mentioned few details, it just picks up the default settings, and in default the Spring Boot version is 3.2.0. The group id it has kept to be com.example, artifact id is demo, which is fine. The Java version is 17. So once we know that, we will just get out of here. We have created this Spring Integration Sender project, which is going to be our sender or publisher. They have mentioned another curl command for receiver, which is a subscriber. Let's run this too, but this time let's make sure we don't do any such mistake again. So what I'll do is I'll I'll write my own command similar to what I had written for sender. Guys, I know that these are not the things that anyone is going to do on the screen or while sharing the video, but I really want to keep these videos very raw. saying that anyone can be knowing or not knowing things, and it is okay to not know a few things. It is just important that you know the fundamentals of how things work. So that's what we are doing. So I'm going to create a project similar to sender with the name receiver, and everything else in this curl command stays same. Let's create the receiver also now. Let me just ls, let us do an ls ltr so I see all the details as well. So I created a sender and a receiver. Okay, so what are these curl commands doing? What is this fourth step doing? We are creating two Spring Boot projects. Using first command, we are creating a publisher or a sender. For the ease of users understanding, sender is going to be the one who's sending the message. That's why they have named it to be sender. So we have created a project named Spring Integration Center Sender, and we have created another project named Spring Integration Receiver. We are going to use these projects, make few changes in these projects going ahead in few of the next steps. But that's what we did in this step. The next step is creating an application to send the messages. Please stay tuned in, guys, and please subscribe to my channel.